Hell yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the Morbid Hour.
Welcome.
Hello.
Episode 26. 26?
Damn.
Yeah, looks like Bronco Juggalo left us a comment.
What's up, Brad?
Yeah, I've never heard of the Showdown. I don't really consider the Darkness a metal band. Yeah, more hard rock. But I remember they were really popular in like 2003,
Yeah.
2004. That I believe a thing called Love video kept coming on like VH1 and stuff
Mhm.
over and over and over.
Acid Bath. I don't know them.
Oh yeah.
Those are going 1-2. 1-2's in the chat. What's up? And Death Metal Elitist. Yeah, Acid Bath. I've heard of them. Good stuff.
Sounds cool. That's a cool name.
Yeah, it is. So
With
today
that-
we're going to talk all about. What's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say today we're going to talk all about sci-fi horror. We're going to count down our top 5 science fiction horror movies, and then after that, we're going to talk about some underrated metal bands that don't get talked about quite enough.
Mhm.
Oh yeah! So it should be a fun show.
Oh yeah.
Should I go ahead and start so we can do the clockwise thing again, like we have been doing? And, it's just easier since that's the way it appears on the screen.
Yeah.
Number 5, okay. So top 5 sci-fi horror. My number 5 is going to be They Live.
Oh, They Live.
Yeah, directed by the great John Carpenter. It's not really very horror per se. On IMDb, it is listed as sci-fi action horror, which it is. But I mean, think about it. Aliens have pretty much infiltrated and taken over Earth, and they're running everything without us even knowing about it in this movie. So I mean, if that's not horror, I don't know what is. But it is definitely more action sci-fi. And that's why I have it pretty low on the list because there's a lot of horror elements, but it's not straight up horror. It's still a good movie. I've been a fan of Roddy Piper. I've been a big wrestling fan pretty much my whole life, and I've always been a huge fan of him. He's just awesome, and he's great in this movie. I couldn't picture anybody else in the role. Maybe Kurt Russell, but Roddy Piper does a great job. And I love when he first blows away all those alien scum with the shotgun and cleans house and the bank and stuff. Like, that's so awesome. I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Yeah. Lots of really fun and really exhilarating action-packed scenes like that. Lots of great humor, lots of drama, the horror, action, sci-fi. This movie's got everything. It's really, really entertaining. I think it's one of John Carpenter's best. It's definitely my top 5 John Carpenter movies ever made. I absolutely love it. So yeah, They Live, my 5th favorite sci-fi horror film, for sure.
That fight goes on for like 10 minutes at least.
Yeah. Roddy Piper and Keith David.
Yeah,
it goes on so long. It's such an awesome fight, though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, Alien versus Predator Requiem. Oh yeah, best sci-fi movie ever, right?
Yeah.
I saw those in the theaters. Oh man, I was expecting so much more. I should probably give them a rewatch. It's been years. Maybe they're better than I remember. Who knows?
I actually never saw that one, the second one.
Oh
Requiem.
yeah. I remember very little about it. I just remember not being very into it.
Yeah, I just heard so much bad about it. I didn't even bother.
They Live is a great choice. I'm very upset that I forgot about it. So I guess
I forgot about it.
So
yeah, it's a good movie. I need to get more light in here somehow.
So what happens when you put the light on? It's too much light, or
when I put on the light on, it seems to make everything in the foreground darker or somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's a little better. Not really, though.
I can see you all right.
The whole room's light, except I'm dark. I don't know.
Horror Fan 88 always has perfect HD quality.
Yeah. Both of you have way better webcam quality than I do. Mine sucks. Mine's like really, really outdated. I can't really say that it's my top priority to get a new one. Not one of my top priorities. I mean, I've got too many other things going on.
So who's next? How are we doing it?
I guess you, Sean, so we'll go clockwise.
Oh, okay. So my number 5 pick is Trancers.
Nice.
Oh, good one. Good one. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that. Good
I
one.
love that movie. It's great.
Tim Thomerson is awesome.
Yeah, big time. It's probably I think it is probably my favorite of the full moon movies.
It's up there for me.
I saw it way back when I was a kid. And I was like, blown away. I was like, this is so cool because I always did like sci-fi and horror and stuff.
Same here. I always liked when they crossed over.
Yeah, that was like perfect like crossover kind of.
Yeah,
I love the sci-fi elements and the horror, and I like you said, Jack Death is a cool character, like
Yeah,
badass.
awesome.
And they got Helen Hunt in there in her early role there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, it's been a minute since I've watched that movie.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
I love the first 3 and the kind of
Yeah, the first 3 are great. This is
theme at the like 4 and 5. So yeah,
the first 3 are the only ones I own.
Yeah, the
I guess there's
budget
like
gets
6
lower and lower and lower. Like,
That's a great pick, though.
Yeah, good choice. Yeah, there's like 6 Trancers movies, isn't there?
yeah.
I've only got the first 3 on DVD.
And I mean,
6 doesn't even have a Jack Death.
Yeah, Tim Thomerson. Well, technically Jack Death is in it, but he's in like a female's body or something.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think I've ever seen the 6th one actually, so I'm not sure. But from what I remember, it's something like that.
Yeah.
knowing Full Moon, there's probably 13 of them by now.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
But yeah, first up is Class. It's that's from.
Ooh, nice.
Great choice, man. I didn't think of that one either. Shoot.
I mean, let's be real here. Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Stuart Gordon, Recipe for Greatness.
It's just Ken Foray too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
The effects in this movie are disgusting, but the performances are great. It's just such a perfect, fun movie. And the cool thing about this kind of compared to Reanimator, I guess, is when you think of Reanimator, you think of the color green. When you think of this one, you kind of think of a reddish pink color because that's all out of this movie. Yeah. I mean, what else can you say? It's a classic. It's just so damn good. I mean, the only negative thing I'll say is this DVD cover sucks, but it does look
Yeah, the VHS artwork and the Blu-ray cover are way better. The DVD.
I have the Scream Factory one, which I don't like that cover
Same
that much
here.
either. Except for you can reverse it to the poster one though, which is good.
Exactly.
The original poster.
Still cool though.
I love
a great movie.
I love Barbara Crampton in that one, especially. Especially when she puts on that leather outfit. Yeah.
Right.
But I amazing effects too. It almost like reminds me of like The Thing, like with the
the practical effects are astonishing.
Like with the guy turns into like a full blown like monster.
Yeah. So disgusting, but so amazing looking at the same time.
Right. Oh, when that thing eats Jeffrey Combs and he like has to break out of it.
That was cool.
And the flies attack Ken Foray with it, like covered in swarm and
and the name Dr. Pretorius, of course, comes from Bride of Frankenstein.
Right.
Which is a pretty cool little nod.
Yeah. He was really good in it too.
Yeah, oh yeah. All right, so is it my turn?
Yep.
All right, so my number 4 is going to be none other than Predator.
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, I know it's a little bit of a stretch to call this one horror as well, much like They Live, but I think it definitely counts as a horror movie. It's very, very violent and pretty gory too.
Yeah,
actually,
I wouldn't say it's
pretty
a
dark.
stretch. There's a lot of
Yeah, I mean, it's Predator's an alien from space hunting down people and killing them in gruesome, horrific ways. It's very brutal, and of course, it's got the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, probably my second favorite role of his, which my first we'll get to in a little bit. Very action packed, very very thrilling. Every time I watch him, my eyes are always glued to the screen. Like there's never a boring, dull moment.
no.
The special effects, the costume for the Predator itself look amazing. I saw the original costume when Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally going to play him. That didn't look very good at all. I'm really glad they updated it with this amazing design because it just looks spectacular. Yeah, he just looks incredible when he takes his mask off at the end. It looks incredible.
It's awesome. Even now, it's still.
Oh yeah, it still holds up to that. I still think that's the best looking Predator we've ever seen in a movie. Like all the other movies, they try to exaggerate it too much. They'll give him like a huge forehead with like all kinds of spikes and like all kinds of mandibles and like so many teeth and stuff. They overdo it. I think it's less is more. I think the simpler design looked best. Yeah. And my favorite part is at the end when only Schwarzenegger's character Dutch. He's the only remaining survivor of his his squad of soldiers, and he goes head to head with a Predator, and like it's just a man versus alien. They fight without their weapons and everything. And of course, and I love the evil laugh that the Predator gives, like right before he attempts to kill them both.
When he self-destructs. So,
that is so awesome. It gives me chills every time. Yeah, just a very, very, very fun, very exciting movie, and one of the best movies that combines sci-fi and horror and action, for that matter, for sure. Absolutely love Predator. It blew me away when I first saw it. It still blows me away to this day. This movie's awesome. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Hell yeah.
You just reminded me of that too when they had the fight at the end. He's like, the alien puts all his gear away, and like we're just gonna go at it like two warriors.
Yeah,
because that's what that Predator is. He's a hunter. He's a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
He fights fair too. He won't go after you if you're unarmed, unless except for Schwarzenegger at the end because he's already been trying to outsmart him and stuff. You one ugly mother effer.
I will say, this was in my honorable mentions. I wanted to put it in so bad because I'm also a massive old school action fan when it comes to 80s action and stuff. This movie is known because it has the manliest handshake in the world. But yeah, the Predator's laugh is just, it's haunting. It's nightmarish the way it sounds. Great gore fest, great action. Predator rules.
Rest in peace, Carl Weathers.
Yeah, that's right. He's died recently, huh?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Mm.
I still haven't seen Prey yet, so I don't know how great.
I haven't either.
Oh, you should. It's really
I heard
good.
it was really good. Yeah.
Like every Predator movie, and they all kind of.
Yeah, I think it really is up there with the original. I'm not saying it's good as the original, but it's like I like it better than any of the other ones. Like,
oh wow, cool.
Yeah,
I actually like Predator 2 pretty well. I think it's underrated.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as great as the first one. Not even close.
Yeah.
Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Gary Glover.
Yep.
So my number 4 would be The Thing.
Great choice.
John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean, who doesn't love this movie? I mean, that's obviously it's one of John Carpenter's best, and Maybe the best practical effects ever in a horror movie.
Probably.
Yeah, excellent blend of sci-fi and horror. It's scary as hell. Great score by not John Carpenter, Ennio Morricone. Amazing cast. Kurt Russell's freaking awesome. This whole cast is great. Keith David. Yeah. Once again, awesome direction. John Carpenter, one of the best remakes too of all time, bro. Just badass. It's awesome.
Probably the best remake, I would say.
Not only is it scary with great effects, it's got great suspense too. Like obviously the blood test scene, like I've never seen anything like that. It makes me jump like every time, even though I've seen it like 300 times. I'm like, oh. You know what it does. It's freaking amazing.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Hell yeah.
I
like it better than it's one of the few remakes that I think is better than the original. You know.
Same here. One of the very few. I'll be right back.
I mean, the original is classic. It's got that classic, 1950s sci-fi kind of like B-movie thing going. You know?
But I'm right there with you. That blood test scene scared the hell out of me when I first saw it.
Yeah, awesome. Talk about suspense, man. It doesn't get any better than that.
I agree. That's what I would like to see more in a lot of horror movies today, is that slow build up to something rather than just
right.
Exactly.
They take the time with it, and they kind of sway you a couple of times during that too, like
just makes it all work. But
like you think it's this guy, but it's not,
Yeah. But my next one, movie, and I do consider it something. The original Phantasm.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
The tall man is a shapeshifter. You see his.
It is definite sci-fi elements and Phantasm.
Yeah, and this favorite Phantasm. This is the one that I love the most. It's just so nightmarish and weird. The atmosphere is fantastic in this movie. The tall man in himself, Angus Scrimm, one of the most underappreciated horror icons ever. And I find this movie frightening in a way, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen this old DVD VHS tape back in the day. It was called like Boogeyman. It was like a clip show of horror.
Boogeyman, yeah.
And I had that when I was a kid, and I watched it, and there was a clip of Phantasm, and it just weirded me out. Like I was like, ugh. And it stuck with me. And,
Did that kind of get you to want to watch it? Oh,
yeah.
You didn't see it at that point?
Yeah. And, obviously it's a weird franchise in itself, but to me, 1 and 2 are 1-2 punch. They're the best.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Something about that original is just so dreamlike, almost Italian horror-esque in a way.
Yeah, I agree. Phantasm is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, the first Phantasm rules. It's so surreal and just so creepy and nightmarish, like you said, so otherworldly, and great suspense, very creative and imaginative. The movie feels
so
like
original. So original.
And I love the second one too, but there's something about that first one just so, feels like death.
There's just so much crazy shit going on. You got these dwarf creatures. You got the time portal things, and
they look like Jawas from Star Wars,
right? The spheres are freaking badass. The tall man.
It does count as sci-fi horror, because I guess the tall man's like basically an alien, pretty much, from another dimension. So. There's a lot of sci-fi elements in the series.
Yeah.
So I'd say it counts for sure. So my next one's going to be John Carpenter's The Thing.
Nice.
The best remake ever made. Now, I grew up with the 1950s, The Thing from Another World. I watched that a lot growing up, well before I finally saw this one. And I loved it. I loved that movie. It was, it was very suspense, cool looking monster, very, very fun sci-fi horror 50s flick, black and white, And when I finally saw this one, the remake by John Carpenter, it blew me away. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. I was like, wow. I was like, no, this is like where it's at. Like these special effects are just phenomenal, just astonishing in every way, just incredible. Like, holy crap, yeah, Rob Bottin, who did the makeup effects, just outdid himself. And Albert Whitlock, like, wow, did they do a good job? And yeah, of course, the score by composer Ennio Morricone, like you said, is phenomenal. John Carpenter's directing, Kurt Russell being a badass, like always. The creature effects, the design of the alien is just, oh my gosh, nightmare fuel. It's terrifying, but it's so well done. It looks so realistic. And it's technically a remake. I mean, John Carpenter was inspired by The Thing from Another World, but this is actually a lot closer to the original story, Who Goes There. Mm-hmm. So in a way, this is just another book adaptation and a more faithful one at that. That does still count as a remake. It is my favorite remake ever made. John Carpenter's The Thing is just incredible. I wish we would get like a proper follow-up, an actual sequel. I know we had that prequel in 2011?
Yeah.
Which, that's cool. But I like to see a continuation. I like to see Kurt Russell come back and, see what happens after that, because they left it kind of open-ended. It was kind of vague, like it was one of them infected, who knows?
Yeah.
You don't think it'd be, too much time has passed?
Well, probably now, yeah, unfortunately, but it would have been cool if they made one back in the day.
Yeah. Because everybody always wonders, what happened? Was he Was he the thing? Or, Yeah,
it was intentionally vague, so who knows? Excellent movie. One of the best movies ever made. Perfectly blended sci-fi and horror.
Yeah.
And action, for that matter.
Well, speaking of sci-fi, action, and horror, this is the best movie that inhibits all three together.
Yes.
The Terminator. Now, I don't agree with people when they just say it's a slasher movie. I'm like, all right, there's a lot more to it than that,
It's much more.
There's a lot of sci-fi in there, dealing with nihilistic future, robots and cyberdyne systems. Dude coming from the future to kill who might be the future leader of the resistance. And there's the one slasher element when he goes door to door taking out all the Sarah-Connors. I'll give you that. But the film is just scary too, And the score is magnificent. I love the score. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the best synth lead in the scores from the 80s. I mean, how can you beat Arnold Schwarzenegger as a Terminator? I mean, he's just terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Unstoppable killer robot.
Hell yeah.
And this is I prefer a killer Arnold than he is in the second movie and the rest of the series. I like him like this, just badass killing machine from hell,
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome effects too, that most of it holds. I'm not gonna say all of it holds up, but most of it holds up really, really well.
Yeah.
And even the stop motion animation at the end with the the robot once he gets revealed, the exoskeleton I still think that looks freaking badass.
I love stop animation.
Yeah.
And yeah, he looks robotic with his movements, so I'd say it's realistic enough, It looks great, I think.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Terminator's fantastic. I am of the minority that I like Terminator 1 the best. Like T2 is fantastic every way, but I just prefer T1.
Oh,
I
me
prefer the
too.
original as well. Always have. I've always preferred
Absolutely.
the original.
So I'm glad we all agree.
Probably because it's scary. It's scary. It's the scary one,
Yeah. The most horror-esque of
Right.
all the entries in the series. Integrity 101 is in the chat. How's it going? So.
Okay, so
I agree. Terminator is much better. Sorry. Go ahead.
My next one's probably, it's going to be an obvious choice here, and that's going to be the original Alien.
Nice.
Much like the Terminator, I much prefer Alien to Aliens. I just like that horror vibe to it more. And, truly, this is a masterpiece. Like, the effects are phenomenal in this film. The scares at time are very effective, like that one where it's like, that's great stuff. The face huggers, they look like a mixture of a spider and a scorpion. Like,
it's freaky.
And of course, the xenomorph in itself is an amazing creature design. Like, it looks intimidating and disgusting. It's also weird that in a way, this and the Terminator franchise are very similar, where the first two are the highest in regard, and then the sequels kind of.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, just everything about Alien, the atmosphere of it, just the set design, the creature effects. It's a fantastic film. Alien. That's all I got to say.
Excellent choice.
Thank you.
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
it's funny though how it is similar like that to the Terminator. You got the one that's more like scary and horror in the first one.
Yeah.
The second one's more like action sci-fi.
Yeah.
Both great, but I tend to go towards the scarier one.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I'm a horror guy, so I'm going to gravitate more towards the horror one.
Right.
So, my next choice is also going to be Alien.
Nice.
This is a 1979 classic directed by the great Ridley Scott.
Yes.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley is one of my favorite protagonists of all time. She's one of the baddest action heroines ever. She's just so awesome. And yeah, this is definitely the scariest out of all the Alien movies. Great suspense, great scenery, great scares. Yeah, the scene with the face hugger is really creepy, and then the scene where the alien actually does burst out of the guy's chest is a doozy. When I first watched it, I did not expect that. I did not see it coming. I was like, whoa. I was like, this movie means business. Yeah, the design of the xenomorph looks amazing. Like, what a creative look for a movie monster. That's just awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very, very scary. I remember before I saw the movie, I saw a picture of it on a magazine. I was like, wow, that's the monster in the movie. That is really terrifying looking. That is a very, very creative looking creature for sure. Yeah, I probably do prefer this to the next movie, Aliens. They're both great in different ways. But it depends on what I'm in the mood for. If I'm in the mood for a scary horror film, I'll watch Alien. If I want to be a little more entertained with an action-packed blockbuster type movie, I'll watch Aliens. But like I said, they're both great. My life would be incomplete without both of them. But overall, I think I do prefer the original Alien because, like I said, I'm a horror guy. This is far scarier and more suspenseful. And the premise was very, very creative at this point too. It was very fresh and original and a very unique take on the sci-fi horror genre. And I absolutely love it. It's both thumbs ups. It's a very, very solid movie. 10 out of 10. I absolutely love it. It's a masterpiece.
Agreed.
I agree.
Yeah.
So my pick for number 2 is going to be my favorite remake of all time, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Great choice.
You can love this movie. It's, again, very scary, taking what the original film did and amping up the horror vibes, with better special effects. And this film has really good, awesome practical effects. And it's much scarier than the original. The pod people are much more unemotional and creepy as shit. Excellent cast to me. You got Jeff Goldblum, Donald Sutherland, Veronica Cartwright from Alien. Awesome cast and excellent acting, great suspense. It's phenomenal.
I like the original a lot too.
Oh yeah, the original is great. Don't get me wrong. I slightly prefer the remake. I think it's because
I do
it's
too.
scarier,
Yeah, it is better effects too.
Yeah, and great effects too.
Yeah. Mr. Dan and Horror is in the chat. How's it going, Mr. Dan?
It's almost like The Thing in that way,
Yeah.
They made it scarier, better special effects.
Yeah, it's definitely been a good watch. I've seen it, but that's definitely my favorite version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I know they got like what 3 or 4 renditions of it.
4, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's the body snatcher, right? With Donald Sutherland again, right? Is that
yeah.
And the Invasion with freaking Nicole Kidman. I didn't like that one.
Great choice, though. My next one, once again, another one I count as sci-fi. That's going. Speaking of Jeff Goldblum, The Fly. I do consider it sci-fi. It deals with
nice.
transportation and monsters and all that type of shit.
Yeah.
And the effects are up there with a cool thing and all that and Alien. Yeah, this movie is very gross at times. I mean, the way he looked by the end of it, and he like spits the acid on the dude's hand.
It's grotesque. That's true.
Very gross movie.
And I just think there's great performances, great special effects. There's so many movies that are like, is it sci-fi? Is it not sci-fi? It's just, I just always thought, hey, this sci-fi enough for me.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's also a sad movie at times, dealing with a lot of shit like that. But yeah, The Fly, disgusting but awesome. I got that Scream box set that has like all of them in it.
Oh yeah, that's a really nice set.
Yeah, I still have not watched like what is it, Curse of the Fly and stuff like that.
It's my least favorite. There's not even a fly mutant in that movie. It's really weird, but it's not bad. So before we get to my number 1 choice, speaking of The Fly, my one and only honorable mention for this list is the 1986 Fly with Jeff Goldblum. But he was also in Jurassic Park. Yeah, it's my Jeff Goldblum impression. But yeah,
nice.
Yeah, The Fly from 1986 with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, directed by David Cronenberg. It's a great movie. Definitely another awesome remake. It's very, very, very gross, very gruesome, very grotesque, but great special effects by Chris Wallace. Great looking monster at the end. It's very sad too, and very, really pulls at your heartstrings a little bit. Very, very bizarre stuff, but very good. Very well done. Yeah, I love David Cronenberg. He's one of my favorite directors, and yeah, the cast is great. The acting is great. The special effects are great. Everything, pretty much everything in this movie is awesome. And I like how when he first starts kind of mutating after he invents the telepods and actually gets caught with a fly, and which merges his genetic codes with the insect. When he first starts to mutate, he's almost kind of like a superhero in a way. Briefly, he arm wrestles that guy, like breaks his arm, and then starts punching the wall, holes in the wall and stuff. That was pretty cool. Then of course he starts looking, more and more like an actual fly. It's really, really disgusting, but in a good way. Yeah, very stomach turning for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my only honorable mention. But I also love the original The Fly from the 50s of Vincent Price. This is a great movie as well. I do prefer the remake by a hair, but it's very close because this one's awesome as well. Help me. Yeah, great acting here too. And pretty good special effects for the time as well. I suggest anybody who hasn't seen the original The Fly should check it out. If you've only seen the remake and feel like this one's not worth your time, I suggest you give it another chance and give it a watch because it's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The Fly. But anyway, my number one pick, of course, is The Terminator.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I do definitely consider this a horror movie. I know it's debatable, but like maybe the sequels not so much, even though those even have some horror elements. But come on, let's face it. Like we already established that a lot of scenes are basically like a glorified slasher. I mean, he's going around killing people. People have been targeted for termination, and then, of course the flashback scenes, even though they're in the future, of the futuristic, post-apocalyptic, dystopian, war-ravaged future that's run by machines. I mean, that's one of the most horrific things I can think of. If that's not horror, I don't know what is. I mean, come on. I think this definitely counts as a horror movie, and it's sci-fi as well, and action too, and it blends all three perfectly. And this is actually my favorite movie ever made too. My favorite horror movie is Halloween, sure, but my favorite movie of all time of any genre is The Terminator.
Nice.
Freaking love it. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger's great as the killer android from another time. Michael Biehn is great as the badass hero, has to protect Sarah Connor, played by the great Linda Hamilton. Yeah, Kyle Reese is a great hero. Yeah, great acting, great cast. Yeah, pretty good special effects. Some of them are a little bit dated, but I still love them. Yeah, I think they still hold up for the most part. Those scenes in the future done very, very well. Wow, is that just very, very surreal and very nightmarish. But yeah, what can I say? I need to give this its own individual review because I can talk about this movie forever. I can talk about it for hours. It's a solid masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Perfect movie.
I'm surprised you haven't.
Yeah, I need to. I've talked about it a lot in other videos, but I do prefer it to T2, which most people prefer the sequel. I love T2, but I think this one's even better for sure.
Yeah.
You gotta love when the machines rolling right over the people's human skulls.
And HKs and stuff. The robots.
Right, HK Hunter Killer.
Yeah. I've seen a few fan edits, Integrity 101. Yeah, it's pretty interesting that fans are doing a better job with some of the movies than the actual filmmakers. There's a pretty cool fan-made trailer for a Justice League movie that actually had, the Green Lantern in it, unlike the actual Justice League movie.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
They should make that.
Yeah, they should.
I guess you couldn't with the Zack Snyder universe.
Yeah.
Dead or whatever.
That's a great choice, though, and it's cool that it's your favorite movie.
Love it.
Cool off-topic question. If Halloween is all of our favorite horror movies, what's your favorite movie that's not technically horror? Or I guess
I really have to think that.
Well, I do consider Terminator horror, so I guess I couldn't pick that either. Gosh, I don't know. That's a tough one. Probably something sci-fi or probably a superhero movie like the 1989 Batman, perhaps. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, I would have to think about
maybe one of the Star Wars movies like Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, mine would be The Crow.
Great choice.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome.
Yeah, I can't say I'm necessarily looking forward to the new one coming. But...
Yeah.
Is that still a thing? Is that still
Bill
happening?
Skarsgård. Yeah, it was going to be Jason Momoa, but now it's going to be Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
It might be good. Who knows? I guess we'll see. Yeah. At the end of Terminator, yeah, there's actually a deleted scene where after they left the factory, Kyle was taken in a body bag, and Sarah was taken in an ambulance. They zoomed out, and it said Cyberdyne Systems on the building that they were in, which I think that should have been left in because that would have been kind of a cool twist and kind of brought it full circle. Connected it
true.
Sarah and Kyle.
I always think of the scene where Arnold finally becomes the exoskeleton towards the end. Just before when he comes out of the Mack truck and burns in the fire, and it made me think of Halloween 2.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can't tell me they weren't inspired.
Probably. That was actually the first scene James Cameron came up with. Like, he envisioned the metal endoskeleton rising from the ashes and the flames and stuff, and like then he knew that like it couldn't nothing like that could exist in present day, so he had to add the future element to it. He just wrote the movie around that scene, around that image of the machine rising from the burning rubble, which I think is pretty interesting. And then, like, I guess he was living in his car at the time. He was very poor. He was working on the script in his car, and that was the first scene that he wrote.
Awesome stuff.
Came to a vision, and I'm glad it did because it's my favorite movie.
Excellent choice.
Thank you.
So I'll give a couple, honorable mentions. Night of the Comet.
That's a great one.
Yeah. Fun. It's very, very 80s movie.
Yeah.
It's almost similar in a way with Trancers with the zombie things,
Yeah, it's a similar concept for sure.
Mm-hmm. Apocalypse, nightmarish kind of future thing.
Yeah.
And Event Horizon is a great sci-fi horror.
Haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. Definitely pretty underrated film.
Yeah.
So my number one is Alien, 1970.
Nice.
Freaking masterpiece.
Love it.
Yeah. To me, there's no movie that blends sci-fi and action better than, equally, like Alien does. Phenomenal cast of awesome acting. It's terrifying. The suspense, the creature design is amazing, and the set design is absolutely amazing. That's a huge part of why it works so well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The design by H.R. Geiger, he designed all the sets and everything, which, man, hold up so well today, I mean, what a brilliant design of the alien, and then, the face hugger thing, and phenomenal. I love the scene when you see the close up of the alien, like all the gallons and gallons of spit coming out just before the tongue thing comes out the screen. Oh, it's freaking awesome. And what more can you say about Sigourney Weaver? What an icon of action and horror, Sigourney Weaver. I think she should have got an Oscar nod for this too, because she did get nominated for Aliens. She was freaking awesome in the first one.
Yeah.
For sure.
But the whole cast is awesome. I had some issues with the cast in part 2, but
yeah, that's a great number one, bro.
But yeah, I love everything about the original Alien. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Same here, for sure.
My honorable mentions would be They Live, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Blob.
Love
That's
The Blob.
One too. Yeah, that's a great one too.
Both of them. All
The
three of them.
Terminator, Predator, and this one as my final honorable mention, just because I grew up with it. It's fun, cheesy '90s shit. The Faculty. I love this movie. You know, it's whatever. It's fun as hell.
The other guitarist in my band is obsessed with that movie. He watches it like almost every day. He texted me one time. He's like, man, I watched The Faculty 3 times today already. I was like, man. It's like, you might like The Faculty more than I like The Terminator. I've seen The Terminator more than any other movie, but I haven't watched it 3 times in one day before.
Robert Patrick's in that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Faculty.
But my number one.
A Thing.
Nice.
You know, I've talked ad nauseum about this movie because it's so fantastic. Also, pretty much everything you guys mentioned, practical effects are gnarly in this. The scares are earned and very effective in this film. The tension, you could cut with a knife. It's like the setting. This movie feels cold. It just feels death. Great lines of dialogue, great script, great film. Just everything about the thing is fantastic. Yeah, fuck you too. But yeah, the thing.
It's so hard to believe that it wasn't a success. Like, how did this movie fail?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. E.T. was out at that time. And that might have something to do with it, but come on. People wanted to go see the friendly alien movie, not the horrific, terrifying alien movie.
Yeah. It sucks that so many of Carpenter's films just bombed back in the day, but they're classics these days and recognized.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
good.
God people woke up to it, you know.
Yeah.
They realized how great it was. Death Ship, huh?
Yeah, it's really one of those. So the triangle was like The Shining on a ship. I haven't seen it. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, speaking of Death Ship, I'll show you something I got today.
Yeah, I think Death Ship's kind of like The Shining on a boat. They don't really see the ghosts or anything. Just kind of suggested.
The Ghost Galleon.
Nice. The third one in the Knights of Templar Blind Dead series.
Just got this today.
Hell yeah. Love those movies.
Love the cover art too.
Yeah,
sick.
That was really cool.
I haven't heard of Death Ship. I've heard of Ghost Ship, which I still kind of like.
Yeah,
that came out in 2002. I remember that came out. Yeah, that was a lot like Death Ship. Those ghosts on a boat too.
It was all right.
Yeah, that's a gnarly kills.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to mention about sci-fi horror before we get started with some underrated metal bands?
It's some good shit.
Some good shit.
Absolutely. My 2 favorite genres come together as one. How can you go wrong?
Yeah. I will say one thing, before you get to the next topic. What do you think about the return of Slayer?
It's pretty exciting. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be this soon, but why not, I'm pretty excited about Kerry King's solo album, too. Was it From Hell I Rise or something? Of course, Paul Bostaff is the drummer, of course. I knew that was going to be I knew he was going to be in it. And it's got Mark Ozagueda from Death Angel on vocals. And is it Phil Demmel from a Violence and Machine Head on second guitar?
I believe so.
And I think it's the bassist from Hell Yeah or something.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. I can't wait to check it out. I really need to get into KK's Priest also. It's KK Downing from Judas Priest, his band with Tim Owens and people and some other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Slayer reunion. Yeah, looking forward. I probably won't go see them again, but it's pretty cool that they are doing a comeback tour reunion.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, I really didn't think they were gonna get back together. I really didn't.
I didn't think so. I didn't think Tom Araya wanted to work with Kerry King again. I thought he was retired from music altogether.
Yeah.
Apparently, his wife talked him into it or something.
That's what I read. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
You know, I'm excited, but also confused because I was like, before the whole Slayer coming back thing, I was like, 2 days ago, didn't Kerry King say he hated everyone in Slayer or something?
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's another reason I was so shocked, because like you kind of talk some smack in that interview.
Yeah.
Nice.
I find it hard to believe that he played all the bass and guitar since 1991 or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Necrophagia is good.
What? How's that when he... So are they replacing Killjoy? Yeah.
I guess.
Or are they like taking like unreleased stuff or something?
Not sure. I guess Phil Anselmo's not going to be in it, of course. As Anton Crowley, the moniker.
Yeah, he left a long time ago.
Yeah, he wasn't always in it anyway. So there's also a band called Necrophagist.
Right.
Oh, the last recordings. Okay. I see.
Oh, I see.
On McKinty. Okay.
Is that so that's a different singer, I imagine?
I think so.
I see.
I don't know a whole lot about it.
I hope he has a like similar style. Not a lot of people sound like Killjoy.
Yeah, he's a very unique sound.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever listened to the Illegals. I know Phil's had a lot of projects, but
I just saw them with Slayer or whatever. You know.
Oh yeah.
He opened for Slayer. And they did all Pantera stuff. They didn't do a single solo song.
Oh wow. Yeah, I saw that Pantera reunion with Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante.
How was it?
It was a great show, but I mean, of course, it's never going to be the same without the Abbott brothers. You know, you got to have Dime and Vinny. I mean, they were they were the most important members, really. It was their band. It was still a great show for what it was. It's the next best thing, you know. It's the closest we'll ever come to. Yeah. Zakk Wylde's a great choice to play guitar. Him and Dime were friends. They have kind of a similar style, too, so.
Yeah.
It was a great concert, but, it's. Whether or not I actually consider it Pantera, I don't know. It's a celebration of Pantera. I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yep.
The celebration of Pantera, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
The way to put it.
Oh, yeah. So you guys ready to talk about some underrated metal bands?
Is there...
I guess I'll start off once again, so we can do the clockwise. My number 5 choice is going to be this death metal band called Brutality. This is my only album. This is the only album that I own by them, Screams of Anguish. Now, the cool thing about this CD is that it was actually produced by Lost Apparitions Records, and I was friends with the guy who owned Lost Apparitions. They had a store about an hour from where I live, a record store. He had so many great vinyl records and CDs and cassette tapes. I don't even want to talk about how much money I spent at that place. But yeah, quite a few installments, I guess, in my collection came from there. So they had great T-shirts too. But so yeah, pretty cool. The Lost Apparitions. I knew the guy that produced it. But yeah, Brutality. They're a pretty good band. I'd say check them out. They're decent. I don't really hear them talk about very much. But yeah, as far as death metal goes, if you're into death metal, I think they're definitely worth checking out. I'd be interested to know if anybody else has listened to them. So I think they're pretty good. Pretty sick stuff.
Cool. I haven't heard them.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with them myself. I just know that I've heard them, and I think that they're pretty good.
Definitely have to check that out.
Yeah. I recommend it.
You see what he says when we get in that second down.
Yeah, really.
That would be blasphemy.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that'd be much worse.
Well, my number one most underrated metal band of all time for me is Fear Factory. Like, I just feel like they never got the credit they deserve, never will. Maybe sometime in the future because they're futuristic style metal.
Yeah.
I can only hope one day people are going to be like, yeah, this kicks ass. It's very futuristic sounding. It fits right in with today in 2055 or whatever. Just such an original style, and nobody sounds like them to me.
Yeah, pretty progressive.
Love the vote. I feel like, Burton C. Bell might be the first guy to have that kind of style where he can sing really good and scream really good, and yeah, awesome vocalist, awesome band, like awesome drums, awesome sick ass guitar. Dino Cazares, phenomenal band. Like I love them.
I really like their drummer.
Yeah, Raymond Herrera was the original.
Yeah, I like Fear Factory. I don't know a whole lot about them. I like them whenever I hear them, but I should probably get into them a little more because a lot of my friends really like them. So,
I just love the intensity of it. It's so like fast paced and in your face, and pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I listened to Demanufactured, that album, at the gym the other day, and I will say it's great lifting music.
Yeah, it is.
It's great. But yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely rated band.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I'll admit they kind of lost me after they kind of broke up and kind of separated. Like,
yeah.
And then they started up again with just Dino and Burton C. Bell. I didn't really care for a couple albums that they did until the last one, which was the last one with Burton C. Bell, which I thought really kicked ass. Like, but unfortunately, he's gone now, so, which is a shame. But I saw them with the new singer, and they still sounded awesome. But yeah, that's my number one pick anyway.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
First up for me is going to be a somewhat unknown death thrash mix band, and that's going to be Morbid Saint.
Oh, nice.
Like, for the longest time, this band only had 2 albums, and that was Spectrum of Death and Destruction System. Now officially got a 3rd album out called Swallowed by Hell, which isn't bad. But Spectrum of Death is one of the most aggressive, raw sounding albums. It sounds like the singer is grating, like his throat's being grated by a cheese grater. Like, it's so nasty and raw.
Can't go wrong with that.
And it's just every song was so good. The second album definitely kind of went more in a groovy-ish direction while still being fast and thrashy as well. But yeah, they're just one of those bands that I feel like you don't hear much talked about, and I think many people should check them out. Brutal.
Yeah, they're good. I like them, and that album cover of Spectrum of Death looks like Eddie from Iron Maiden. Like, looks exactly like him. Yeah, they're really good. Yeah, it's about. Yeah, I'm glad they finally released more albums, since that was kind of their only one there for a while, I guess. I don't know a whole lot about them, but I do know that I like their music.
It sounds cool.
Yeah. right, so my next choice is going to be a black metal band from Sweden called Nagelfar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, hopefully, but somebody correct me in the comments if I'm not. Maybe it's Nagelfar. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they I only have 2 albums by them, Pariah and Harvest. Or sorry, Pariah and Harvest, yeah. Yeah, pretty good stuff. I know that a lot of elitists only listen to Norwegian black metal, but I really like the Swedish stuff as well. I think Swedish black metal is awesome. I mean, Dissection. I mean, how could you go wrong? But yeah, this album in particular, Harvest, the 5th track, when I first heard that song, The Darkest Road, it was literally the most awesome thing I'd ever heard. It was the same type of moment as when I first heard Queen of the Reich by Queensryche. It just blew me away. That song is amazing. Yes. I was in a band years ago. The other guitarist actually got me into them. He played that song for me. I was like, whoa, this is the coolest thing I ever heard. It just blew me away. And I was hooked. So I had to go and buy the album. Then I got this other album. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Nagelfar. I just know Christopher Olivius is the name of their vocalist. He also played bass for a while. I think he was originally their bassist. Then he switched to bass and vocals, and finally vocals. And they had another vocalist named Jens Ryder before that. That's kind of all I know about the members. But yeah, they're a little newer. Formed like in I think the late '90s, and like they were throughout the 2000s, or maybe a little earlier than that. But I don't think they really got well known or as well known as they are anyway, until like the 2000s. So yeah, I'd recommend these 2 CDs anyway. These are the only 2 I have, and pretty much the only 2 I've listened to. It's really good stuff. Yeah, Nagelfar, great. If you're into black metal, I would definitely recommend them because they're awesome. Ooh. And definitely very overlooked, I would say. Yeah, I agree. Finnish black metal is great as well.
We gotta check those out too. I'm not familiar.
Yeah. Pick one: a cold beer or a fat joint. Neither one for me.
These days, neither one for me.
Neither one.
So once
pretty
upon
boring.
a time.
Yeah. Back in my teenage
I'd say both.
Back in my youth, I would probably say both, but not anymore. I'm very boring these days.
Well, my next pick will be someone mentioned them in the chat. Necrophagia.
Nice.
I love them. And I will be honest, it kind of was Phil Anselmo that kind of made me check them out after I saw their video in the Beyond, the DVD for the Beyond. It was on the And You Will Live in Terror, the video, and I was like, oh shit, that's freaking Phil Anselmo. And I really loved the song, so I just started listening to them and checking out their catalog, and even after he left, I thought they did some really, really good shit, like Harvest Ritual and Death Trip and what's the other one? Harvest. The last one they did, I thought that was their best. Man, they had some really great songs on there. White Worm Cathedral. Yeah, and their songs are all about like specific horror movies, like like in the White Worm Cathedral, there's one about Lucio Fulci's Zombie. They did one on City of the Living Dead, all the Fulci stuff,
Hell yeah.
All the House by the Cemetery. They did one on the Tombs of the Blind Dead. The one on the Howling. It's really cool. And you see like a little bit of the sound bites from the movies in there.
I love when they do that.
Yeah, really cool. Super, super heavy. I mean, Killjoy's got one of the sickest like death metal voices, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just like they sound just like gross and grimy and evil, super evil. I love them. This excellent mix of horror and heavy metal, just like perfect,
Yeah, for sure.
It's scary, like the music is scary, when they got like the keyboards too in there,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's
And
got
it gets
kind of
into
that real like
too long.
sludgy guitar, like the New Orleans stuff, and like I Hate God kind of sludgy guitar, crowbar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be my next one.
My next one is going to be one that Death Metal Elitist also mentioned, and that was Goat Horror.
Oh yeah.
Divine Art of Torture.
Yeah.
Now,
those are one of my grandma's favorite bands.
yeah,
Damn.
all these like subgenres within subgenres type stuff. It's like you got black metal, you got death metal. Goat Horror kind of started off as like a blackened thrash band. Very similar elements of both. Then as they got on, they kind of went more death metal, sometimes thrash metal. But I still love the band. I don't really hate any of their albums. I think they're all great, whether you prefer the early stuff or the newer stuff. I still think it's all very solid. Great vocals, great instrumentation, great. It's just fuck yeah, Goat Horror rules. And I first heard them back in like 2009 from the Night of the Demons remake when I played on that. I was like, damn, what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, Goat Horror rules.
Absolutely.
It's one of those groups that's fairly known, but only to like the hardcore fans, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, blackened death metal.
Mm-hmm.
Like Belphegor
Mm-hmm.
and Behemoth. Great stuff. So my third underrated metal band is going to be Fintroll.
Oh,
they're a they're a Finnish folk metal band, but their lyrics are mostly in Swedish because, according to them, it sounds trollish. So, they sing mostly in Swedish, but they're from Finland. The first song I ever heard by them was called Trollhammeren, and that's on this album, and it blew me away too, much like that Nagelfar song on The Darkest Road that I talked about already. It was actually the vocalist in another band I was in before that other one. He got me into Fintroll. Yeah, he was really big into bands like stuff like this. He liked the Monomarth and all that, and yeah, he showed me Fintroll. I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. So I went out and bought the album. This is the only album I have by them on CD. Natfod, whatever. I don't speak Swedish. I don't know. I think this is the only one with this vocalist. I think the vocalist on this album, this was his only album with the band. So, but I've heard some of their other stuff, and all the vocalists, they sound kind of similar anyway, so it's not really that noticeable. But it's great stuff. So I'd really recommend Fintroll if you're into folk metal and like a black metal type sound. I think they're pretty good. Yeah, I guess they sing about trolls and elves and fairies and wizards and stuff, and mainly trolls, of course. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of the songs sound like a victory song, like a bunch of warriors just won a battle and like they're all drinking beer and like celebrating
like Viking metal type stuff.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, just going, yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. But yeah, pretty cool album. Check it out. Natfod by Fintroll. Fintroll being my third most underrated metal band.
Cool.
I'm not interested. I'm not. What the hell is the word? I'm not. Oh my god, I'm blanking out. I'm not familiar with that band. That's what I was trying to say. Familiar, but I do believe I heard you mention them on one of your videos discussing albums before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I did.
Definitely another interesting one to check out.
Yeah.
Goat Moon. It sounds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard them. Pretty sure. Yeah, that name sounds very familiar. I don't really remember what I thought of them, but I'm pretty sure I heard Goat Moon before. pretty positive. I just don't remember if I liked it or not.
Hmm.
This was another band with a very similar name.
Yeah.
Well, next one I would go with is kind of similar, and they're kind of in the similar position as Fear Factory. They never quite made it big, but they reach a certain point, and they never seem to be able to get above that, you know. And that is Meshuggah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, awesome band. They've never had a bad album, never. They're one of the most solid, consistent metal bands like out there, you know. And they've been around for a long time now, you know. Yeah, every album I think is just kick ass, badass, heavy as all hell, you know. Very different kind of style, very original. I never heard anybody like them, similar to like, you know, Fear Factory, you know.
Yeah.
But his I love like the vocal style. He sounds almost like a drill sergeant or something when he when he screams.
yeah,
Uh, and the guitar is so like intense. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like I don't know, but it's I never heard anything like that. But it's super super heavy. They almost remind me of like if Tool was super super heavy, you know, like because their stuff's like out there like Tool, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome band, and I just feel like they never get credit. They have so many good albums. Like,
yeah. Obstinate was a good album.
yeah,
And yeah, I loved Meshuggah back in like 2005, and I got a lot of my friends into it.
yeah.
I had a friend who looked like the dude on the cover of that Obstin album, which came out I think around that time. I used to always tease him. I was like, "Hey, look, it's you." He looks
Yeah,
just
it's a
like that guy.
kick ass
Yeah,
album.
yeah, it's a good album. Yeah,
And
they're a good band. Yeah, I haven't listened to them in a while.
Destroy, Reese, Improve, of course, is
Yeah,
amazing. Nothing I really liked a lot. Chaos, Fear. The new one they just came out is freaking fantastic.
yeah, yeah,
Colossus, another great one.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Thembo Cinema is in the chat. All of you have amazing heads of hair. Is it all the metal music or headbang? Yeah, it's both. Thank you.
oh, that's a good one for you, Hellhound.
Yeah, that song. Oh, Traces of Death. I remember that. Tony Martin era Sabbath is friggin' awesome. So sickeningly underrated. Anybody who doesn't want to listen to it because it's not Ozzy is really missing out. Tony Martin is one of the most underrated vocalists ever. He has an amazing, powerful voice, serious pipes. Yeah, Tony Martin era Sabbath is friggin' phenomenal. I love it. I even like the Forbidden album. I don't think it's a bad album at all. It's not one of their best. It's one of their weaker ones, but I still like it. Tony Martin is awesome. Yeah, Headless Cross is killer. I agree.
All right. Is it my turn?
Yep.
Yes.
Next up, this is a very nostalgic band for me, and the pronunciation of this band is always whatever. But I'm gonna go with Chimera. Chimera.
Nice. Oh man, I should have put that.
It's one of those bands that I heard a lot growing up from family members and stuff. But like albums like The Impossibility of Reason or this album, it's just so much good stuff with that band. They're heavy, great vocals, and I know they disbanded a while back. Don't know if they're coming back or not. That'd be cool if they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just another one of those bands. Like I know Sean, you like them too as well, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
I just never really heard a whole lot of people mention them, and I think they were on the Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack as well. They had a song on there. But yeah, super underrated band. With
Absolutely. I love them. Badass.
I was pretty big on them back in the day too.
And they kind of started out almost like new metalish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a real heavy new metalish, you know.
Sure.
but I really like that stuff.
Yeah. Which was what was your favorite album from them?
Probably The Infection.
Oh, nice.
Destroy and dominate. That sounds fucking badass.
Yeah. I'd probably go with The Impossibility of Reason. That's just what I do the most. I like his vocals too. You know, face to face, no time to waste. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great vocalist, man.
Yeah.
My turn.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so my second most underrated metal band is going to be Tankard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're part of the Teutonic big four of thrash metal bands, along with Destruction, Creator, and Sodom. And I think they're kind of the Anthrax of the Teutonic big four because they're the most overlooked out of the four. They're the most underrated, and like they have the best sense of humor out of all the Creator, Sodom, and Destruction are all pretty serious. These guys would sing about like zombies and pizza parties and beer and stuff. Like they had a great sense of humor. Yeah. This is their debut album, Zombie Party. And if you're wondering if that artwork looks familiar, that's because it's the exact same cover of the second edition of the Creature Features movie guide by John Stanley, which I have a copy of. I've talked about that a few times on this channel, my top 5 favorite horror movie guidebooks video. But anyway, that's another video. Tankard's a great band. If you love thrash metal and if you have a good sense of humor and like listening to songs about, more funny subjects than overly serious stuff, I'd say give them a listen. And like I said, this is the only album I have by them, their debut. I like to get some more albums. Jer and all them. Look how young they were. Like, wow. But they must have been really young when they released this. But yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I think Tankard's a pretty good band. I think they're pretty underrated. I probably do prefer the other 3 of the Teutonic big four, but I think Tankard's really good too, for sure, and definitely deserve a listen.
I love their logo.
Get the credit they deserve.
I haven't heard them.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I just recently started getting into Creator.
Oh, nice. I love Creator. Hell yeah.
So some good stuff, yeah. So my next group is pretty well known, but and they were hot for a little bit when they kind of first burst onto the scene, but then they kind of fell off the rails. People didn't talk about them after that, So they just had their initial 15 minutes of fame, and then they faded away, and that's when I think they made their best stuff, and that's Faith No More.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, the Real Thing came out. They were hot for a little while, and then they just kind of fizzled out when their best album came out, Angel Dust, in my opinion. It's a freaking phenomenal album. Masterpiece. But it just didn't hit like with the fans, I guess.
Yeah.
And then a criminally underrated album, I feel, is King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. Such an amazing eclectic mix of like styles of genre that they did, and it's such a experimental record, but it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
They just throw everything in there: funk, thrash, like blues, jazz. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And I like some of the stuff they did after the album of the year. I really enjoyed,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Faith No More, I think, and even their early stuff, I think, is underrated too. Before Mike Patton came into the band, Introduce Yourself,
Yeah, Chuck Mosley. I thought Chuck Mosley was a decent singer too.
Right, Chuck Mosley stuff, yeah. Yeah, it's the Integrity 101 says. Most diverse album, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Unfortunately didn't care too much for the last one. Well, when they came back together
Oh
for the
yeah,
reunion. Saul and Victus was like, oh man. It wasn't like there wasn't anything like heavy on there really. It was just a little too mellow for me.
right.
But
Well, Mike
it was
Patton is definitely a virtuoso. He can do a lot with his voice.
oh god, yeah. I mean look at
First.
he's a genius. Look at
Yeah,
all the different stuff he's done, like
for sure.
Phantomas and Tomahawk and
Mr.
Mr.
Bungle.
Bungle and all this. But yeah, I love Faith No More is one of my all-time favorite bands. But
Yeah, I agree. I love them. I need to get some more of their albums.
interesting. I thought they were very Pantera-ish, Damage Plan. I saw them live a couple times, including the year he died. And I met them that year. I met Dimebag and Minnie that year,
Wow. Yeah, that is
2004.
awesome. I would have loved to have met them. I would have loved to have at least seen them in concert.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Sadly, never got a chance.
It was like their CD release party for
nice.
Newfound Power or whatever. And it was right near me.
Nice.
This rock club.
That's awesome.
I remember some guy got like pissed at me because I wanted them to sign a Pantera poster. I'm like, oh man, don't do that because they're Damage Plan now. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Screw it. Why not?
What, you don't think they still care about Pantera? Like the history and how long they were with them? Fuck that. I'm having to sign my Pantera poster, motherfucker.
Great. Next up for me is going to be Entombed.
Nice.
Oh, wow, yeah, good choice.
Obviously, Left Hand Path is one of the greatest metal albums ever. It's just, you even have a sample of the Phantasm theme in one of the songs. Great. Yes. Look at that artwork. It's beautiful.
Love it.
Nice.
But yeah, they were one of them bands that would change into different styles here and there, like Clandestine or Wolverine Blues, but it was still good. Then, of course, you had all the Entombed AD stuff, which was still pretty good as well. But yeah, that Left Hand Path is fantastic. The vocals are crazy and creepy sounding. Just, I love the buzz of the guitars and how that sounds. It's just perfect. Yeah.
Good choice.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Entombed is great. Yeah, I even like some of their later stuff. Yeah, there's no denying Left Hand Path is a masterpiece, and Clandestine's great too. And I even like Wolverine Blues. When they were more like death and roll than death metal. They're very talented. And their timeline of band members got a bit confusing because, like, at one point there was like 2 Entombs. There was like Entombed AD, and like some of the members were in one band and some were in the other. Where it got really confusing, and some of the members came back. It's it's hard to keep up with. But they're however you slice it, they're a great band.
Yeah.
So I only have one honorable mention, and that's Skeleton Witch. The only album I have by them is this Beyond the Permafrost. I think they're a pretty good band. So they're kind of thrash metal-ish, I would say. Some pretty diverse stuff, some melodic stuff too. I'm not very, very familiar with them, but I do like this album. And I'd say check it out. Yeah, Skeleton Witch. I know they have some newer stuff as well that I haven't really listened to yet, but I plan on it. Anyway, my number one most underrated metal band is going to be Angel Witch.
Oh.
Yeah, Kevin Hayborn's band. So basically, now this debut album, just the self-titled Angel Witch, is actually pretty well regarded and pretty iconic in the metalhead community. So if you're wondering why I picked them for an underrated band, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, their debut, pretty highly thought of, pretty highly rated. It's a great album. I absolutely love it. It's great songs like Angel Witch, the title track, Atlantis, White Witch, Sorcerers, Gorgon, Angel of Death, Devil's Tower, Suffer. Yeah, great stuff. And he's released this so many times. So yeah, basically Kevin Hayborn was the guitarist and the vocalist of this album. Where it gets really underrated is their second and third albums, Screamin' and Bleedin' and Frontal Assault. Now, I don't have Frontal Assault, but I do have Screamin' and Bleedin'. And the thing about this album is Kevin Hayborn returned on guitar, but they got a singer named Dave Tatum on vocals. And I can say with uttermost confidence that Dave Tatum is the single most underrated vocalist in metal history. Nobody knows who this guy is. Nobody talks about him. He has an incredible voice. I like Kevin Hayborn's vocals on Angel Witch. I think they're actually kind of underrated. But Dave Tatum, definitely you can tell had a much better voice. And you can tell that he actually had some training, a very smooth, velvety, deep, almost baritone voice. It's like melted caramel in your ears. But he sounded great. He kind of sounded like Danzig a little bit. He had a great voice. Yeah, that song, Who's to Blame, is one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life. That's on this album. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I hear he's with like a southern rock band now. That's all I know about him. I can't remember the name of it. The Dave Tatum Band or something. And it's like Snake Boots or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, something about some southern rock, something about Old West or something. I don't know. Anyway, he did a lot. His two albums with Angel Witch are awesome. I wish he would have done more with the band. And Kevin Hayborn is a very talented guitarist too. He's very underrated. His riffs and solos are very, very memorable. Pretty much everything about this band is underrated, except for the fact they've released their debut album so many freaking times, like so many different special editions and stuff. It just gets ridiculous. But I still love it. I love both these albums in different ways. They're very, very different from one another. They're both very, very awesome. Yeah, Angel Witch, I'd say, is a very underrated album, especially the Dave Tatum era for sure. Definitely check them out if you haven't, because it's some of the best music I've ever heard.
Nice.
Yeah, Angel Witch rules. I just wish they could have done more with Dave Tatum. Now Kevin Hayborn's back as the vocalist too, and he seems to disown the Dave Tatum era, which is weird, but whatever. What can you do?
Mm-hmm. Great number one.
Nice.
Thank you.
So next one I'm gonna say is The Sword. Really cool sword and sorcery type metal. A very old school, Black Sabbath kind of feel to them.
Nice.
Yeah, and the guitar and the singer sounds a lot like Ozzy. I don't know if you ever heard him, but real heavy, but it's got that real old school. Like I said, Black Sabbath mixed with like early Metallica, maybe a little bit of early Rush, even. Pre 2112 era kind of. I think they're pretty kick-ass. They're sort of known, but not not on the level of like some of the bigger bands of today. And they opened for Metallica for a little while.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it. I'll check it out.
Definitely, I think you'd like it.
I know of them, but I don't know a whole lot about them.
Yeah.
But now, I'll have to check it out now.
Cool, like I said, sword and sorcery type. It fits in with say Mastodon or Amon Amarth or whatever, But I think heavier. Good stuff to smoke a bone.
Great choice.
A little bit of stoner rock in there too. Yeah.
I have 2 honorable mentions I'll go through real quick. First one is Crowbar. I like Crowbar.
Nice.
Definitely, I guess what they call sludge metal because it's very, the vocals. I like Kurt's vocals, honestly. It's just they have a lot of great albums as well. Another one for me would be Metal. I like Metal Church. I think they got a lot of underrated stuff.
Yeah.
Metal Church is great. I love Metal Church.
Yeah.
I've got a few of their albums.
They're just another one of those bands that were around the same time as Metallica, and I believe they were even played open and all that stuff, but no one ever really talked about them.
Yeah.
And got a new singer now after, unfortunately, the previous singer. Yeah. And the new singer's okay, but I much prefer the other singers. Metal Church, extremely rated. And my number 1 is going to be the Backstreet Boys.
I knew it.
But my number 1 for real is going to be Bolt Thrower.
Nice.
Tell me why.
Care how metal people are. Once that song plays, people are going to sing along to it. Just a known fact. Bolt Thrower is just a very underrated death metal band when it comes to albums like Chaos or my personal favorite, War Master. Perfect album. For Victory. And the singer has a very unique sound to his vocals because it's not your typical, it's more like hissy kind of in the beginning, but yeah, I definitely say the album to check out from them is War Master. 10 out of 10 album.
Yeah. Bolt Thrower is awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
They're a great death metal band.
Cool.
They get their albums too.
Yeah.
Cool artwork.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Bolt Thrower. Hell yeah. I just had 50 honorable mentions, but I'm not. Because I purposefully try to listen to as many bands as I can, and it's just so many of them are wow, no one has mentioned this band ever. But
I've heard some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Metal Church actually had 2 vocalists that passed away. David Wayne, their original, he was on their first 2, and then that live album, and then he came back for an album. I think it was called Masterpiece, and then he died, and then they got Mike Howe, and then what was it? Ronnie Monroe they got, and then Mike Howe came back, and then he passed away. I think I have that right. I think Mike Howe is the one who passed away, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think Ronnie Monroe, their third singer, left, and Mike Howe was their second singer, and he came back, and he passed away too. So they had 2 vocalists that passed away.
I remember the guitarist filled in for Metallica when James Hetfield burned his arm or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Was it Kurt Vanderhoof or was it the other guy?
It was.
I know what you're talking about. Because now they have a new singer.
Yeah, and he's okay, honestly. I heard their album and I was like, It's just not the same.
Yeah.
But, I mean, okay, another underrated band would be Sacrifice. They got some great albums too.
Nice.
Dark Angel. I know everyone knows Death Angel, but they don't know about Dark Angel.
Dark Angel's awesome. That's Gene Hoglan's band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're one of the best drummers ever. Yeah, I love Dark Angel, especially when they had Don Doty. Don Doty was an awesome singer, but Ron Reinhardt's really good too.
Yeah.
I love Dark Angel. They're freaking awesome.
Yeah, that album Darkness Descends. It was almost like an early example of death metal in a way back in 1986 because there was
Armored Saint is underrated. I agree.
I like Armored Saint.
Me too. I like John Bush a lot better when he's in Armored Saint than when he's in Anthrax.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he belongs, in Armored Saint.
That's they have their own style, you know.
Yeah. Darkness Descends is a great album by Dark Angel.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the only other underrated band I can think of at the moment is Old Man's Child. And it's the side project. Well, I don't know if it really is a side project, but it's Galder from Dimmu Borgir is his band, and he's very talented. I think he does a lot of the stuff, a lot of the instruments and stuff himself. He's the Dimmu Borgir's lead guitarist, and he's very talented. And Old Man's Child is basically his band, and he looks like an evil Uncle Fester too. So.
What a name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty unique name, to say the least.
I mean, if we're talking underrated, we gotta mention Nickelback because
of course.
Beloved band.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Arch Enemy?
I like them.
I dig them a lot.
I know they've had 3 vocalists in total.
Angela Gassel, I think, was their longest vocalist.
She's my favorite.
Yeah, mine too.
And what was her name? Alyssa White Gluz?
Yeah.
She's not bad at all. She still has it's just over time they became more, how do I say it, mystical at times rather than just kind of like death metal-y type stuff.
Yeah.
I think they sound a lot like Carcass, and they even had Michael Amott, who was also in Carcass. So
right.
I think Angela Gassel kind of sounds like Jeff Walker.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
They sound more brutal than I think.
Yeah, they do. Hell yeah.
One more band I'll mention that's kind of underrated. I think it's probably because it's not a very beloved genre. People rip on it. Deathcore.
Oh,
yeah.
People hate deathcore. But I love this band, Carnifex.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just super heavy in your face, brutal, And I like all their albums. I like every album they've had so far. Slow Death is The Disease and the Poison freaking rips. Yeah, pretty badass. I like them.
Yeah, there's
nice. Oh, yeah.
I mean, hell, even at times metalcore, like stuff like Kill Switch Engage. I love that band.
Right. Oh, I freaking love Kill Switch. Like it's not a beloved genre, People talk a lot of crap about metalcore, and
yeah,
I like some of them. I like Shadows Fall.
Exorder, yeah.
Cool. This is a great show.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you guys want to add? Huh?
Super joint.
Yeah.
I liked the first couple albums.
I definitely can't wait for the next one because this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed your guys' picks and everything, and yeah,
Absolutely. Great show.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on the Morbid Hour, or the Horror and Metal channel. I'm Hellhound.
Horror Fan 88.
Sean Erschen over at the Horror Corner.
And see you next time.
Peace out, guys. Have a great one.
Later.